20 years. That is a long time. As Executive Director of the Wabash Valley Community Foundation, I have had the privilege of working with the Foundation for nearly all of those years. This presentation is the 20th anniversary celebration of your Community Foundation. It is your foundation because of each of you shares in its success. This 20th anniversary is yours to celebrate. Some of you are donors to the Foundation. Many of you are volunteers or work for the nonprofit entities who are grantees of the Community Foundation. Your daily efforts serve the needs and enhance the lives of residents of the Wabash Valley. Some of you have created scholarships, others have received them. Many of you have served on committees, volunteered for a task force, or been a member of our board of directors, making our home here in the Wabash Valley a better place to live. Whatever your connection, we thank you for your support and your friendship. An anniversary is an appropriate time to honor the past and anticipate the future. To take us back to the beginning, let me introduce one of the men who accepted the assignment 20 years ago to find out if our community could possibly support its own foundation, Fred Ruby.
1991. My gosh, 20 years ago. Do you remember where you were? What you were doing back then? City Slickers topped at the box office. George H.W. Bush was president. The first Gulf War started. The Dow closed the year at a record high of 3,168, and Seinfeld debuts on NBC. That also was the year the Wabash Valley Community Foundation was formed. It was the selfless volunteer spirit of Don Springman, Sally Lowry, and Ed Jukes, who served on the board of Community Chest of Terre Haute, that led to the creation of the Community Foundation. Don, Sally, and Ed became aware of Lilly Endowment's announcement of the Giving Indiana Funds for Tomorrow, or GIFT initiative, just after it was announced in 1990. The GIFT initiative sought to create community foundations throughout the state of Indiana. These three determined that Terre Haute and Vigo County needed a community foundation. Following their decision, many things happened nearly simultaneously. They convened a larger group that ultimately formed the board of the new foundation. In addition to Sally, Don, and Ed, the board members were Gene Vaughn, Max Gibson, Sharon Nickerson, Pat O'Leary, Don Smith, Charles Combs, Rick Shagley, Jim Sullivan, and me. All respected community leaders, present company accepted, that brought relevant skills and connections to this fledgling group. This group envisioned a different kind of organization, one dedicated to building permanent community capital for the Wabash Valley. As our meetings progressed, two important goals emerged for a possible foundation here. The first goal, the whole community would be invited to actively engage in philanthropy. No gift would be too small. Everyone could participate and be a stakeholder. The second goal, members of the community would govern the foundation and decide how to serve donors, how to create funds, and how to make grants. The board of directors would include people from throughout the county. There were meetings with Lilly Endowment regarding how to participate in the initiative. It was through these meetings that the seed was planted to become not a county-based community foundation, but a regional community foundation. The group voted unanimously to move forward to organize the Wabash Valley Community Foundation. After months of planning, strategizing, talking with Lilly Endowments, the Articles of Incorporation were filed, and the Wabash Valley Community Foundation was officially incorporated as an entity on December 20th, 1991. Perhaps the most important occasion for this young organization was being introduced to Dell and Betty Jones. The Joneses were two lifelong residents of Terre Haute who were considering creating their own private foundation. Through the work of their professional advisor, Robert Scott, they learned of the challenge opportunity from Lilly Endowment and decided to create a fund in the Community Foundation to address the needs of our community. And thus the relationship with the Jones family was born. Their generosity in giving $1 million leveraged another $500,000 from Lilly Endowment and was the capstone of the startup of the Wabash Valley Community Foundation. The Foundation's challenge under the GIFT initiative was to raise $3.4 million within 5 years. That goal was met within 25 months, and the Community Foundation was off and running. Like any startup organization, the foundation needed a lot of support in the beginning. It needed leadership, it needed office space. In every way, it was a startup business, and in every way, the community served as a superb incubator for its new offspring. Don Springman, the board president of the Community Chest of Terre Haute, had agreed to chair the board of directors of this new organization. The foundation hired Terre Haute attorney Beth Tevlin as its first and to date only executive director. Don Smith, the president and CEO of Terre Haute First National Bank, arranged for the Terre Haute Chamber of Commerce to provide office space to the fledgling Community Foundation virtually rent-free at 643 Wabash Avenue. This was truly a low-budget operation. Our first computer donated by Synergy was a portable computer. Portable in that it had a handle, yet it weighed 45 pounds and had a 6 by 8 inch screen. Looking back on these humble beginnings, I believe that the foundation's early success rested on a couple of factors. First, the board of directors was committed to putting donor intention at the forefront of everything it did. It sought out a myriad of ways to involve individuals throughout the community on committees, receptions, and as donors. Secondly, the objective of earning the trust of the community guided every action of the early foundation, as it has ever since. The foundation's leadership team enjoyed a well-deserved reputation for integrity. The community was willing to support this upstart philanthropy because the leaders behind it included the trusted individuals of the founding board. Local residents showed their trust by donating their dollars, unrestricted dollars, with no caveats or strings attached. Assets grew, grants grew, and so did the public's trust. In 1997, citizens from Clay County sought to join with the Wabash Valley Community Foundation, forming the first county-focused affiliate. Sullivan County citizens quickly followed in 1998. As successful as it was, the foundation never rested on its laurels. The foundation's board and committees were constantly evaluating and expanding sound administrative policies, improving the planning processes, and streamlining the way it did business. Its leaders felt strongly that the foundation should always have fresh voices and points of view around the table. From its inception, the Wabash Valley Community Foundation has had term limits to ensure that an invitation to serve on the board did not translate into a lifetime appointment. Let me end my remarks on a personal note. If I had to identify the persons most responsible for starting the Community Foundation, I would credit Robert Scott bringing the Jones family to the Community Foundation, Don Smith for his commitment to assuring the organization had what it needed to get started, and Don Springman for his hours and hours of leadership and guidance during our formative years. 20 years ago, when we formed the group to research the idea of starting a community foundation, we had no inkling of the changes that were in store for this community. Our initial board of directors did not foresee the departure of industry and jobs and the impact that a challenging economy would have on our city, our county, and our region. Had we known what the future would bring, I have no doubt about the action we would have taken. We would have started a community foundation.
How well I remember the fun and excitement and the fear of the startup of the Community Foundation. After the Jones family's generous gift, we only had $2 million more to raise. But how were we going to do it? Yet we did. Another challenge was to build an effective staff. Although originally the Community Foundation started with a staff of 1, we quickly doubled in size. We have been fortunate over the years to have a group of dedicated staff persons who have worked or interned at the foundation. Currently, the Community Foundation has 5 staff members. In 1998, we moved from our downtown office at 643 Wabash Avenue to the former Schulte High School, Corporate Square on Ohio Boulevard, where we are still located today. As I think back on the last 20 years, there are lots of things that the foundation has done of which I am particularly proud. However, if I had to pick one thing, it would be the activity of the Community Foundation in relation to the flood of 2008. The morning of the flood, the Community Foundation took action to make a $50,000 grant to the local American Red Cross chapter. And then, in the weeks and months to follow, the Wabash Valley Community Foundation partnered with the United Way of the Wabash Valley, the Park County Community Foundation, Terre Haute Ministries, and the Vermilion County Community Foundation to form the Wabash Valley Long-Term Disaster Recovery Coalition, which, once again with Lilly Endowment's funds, helped to restore every qualified applicant to their pre-flood condition. I remember when we granted as little as $50,000 a year for scholarships, designated grants, and our competitive grant process. It took 8 years before the Foundation's cumulative grants totaled $1 million. That seemed amazing at the time. But let me put it in perspective. Thanks to the community's ongoing support, your ongoing support, the Foundation is now making grants of over $1.2 million every year. We've come a long way. So where do we go from here? What's next for your community foundation? To answer those questions, I can think of no better person than our board president, Jackie Lauer.
The foundation does not measure success by the size of its assets, but by the number and amount of its grants. So what does success look like, and what will it look like as we move forward? Let's find out. I want to begin by sharing a few facts that might surprise you. I think these facts illustrate the difference that the Foundation is making in our community right now. Last year alone, the Foundation awarded grants to more than 55 nonprofit organizations in Clay, Sullivan, and Vigo counties. I would like to share with you a few examples of how the Foundation is impacting our community. Grant dollars from the Foundation are helping to make a performing arts experience available and affordable for area children and their families, transforming lives through the support of an employment opportunity program for the developmentally disabled, saving and enhancing quality of life through disease prevention and cardiac health awareness programs, providing life-saving comfort through utility support and food programs, preserving historical structures through restoration of county courthouse, clock, and clock tower, enhancing the parks and recreation facilities and programs, saving lives through the purchase of equipment for emergency service providers, providing dictionaries to all third grade students in Clay, Sullivan, and Vigo counties each school year, providing basic needs of food, clothing, and shelter for area families, and the list goes on and on. This past spring, the Foundation awarded almost $900,000 in scholarships to students in Clay, Sullivan, and Vigo counties. Since its launch, the Foundation has distributed more than $16 million to agencies and programs in Clay, Vigo, and Sullivan counties. That's success. On the donor side, even when the struggling economy has caused everyone to trim budgets and rethink priorities, nearly 900 gifts have been given to the Foundation this year. Currently, the Community Foundation holds endowed funds equal to $230 for every man, woman, and child in our three-county area. The Community Foundation now has 433 permanent and growing funds within it. Again, that's success. How do we build on it? Join me as we envision the future. Join me as we fast forward and imagine the community as we would like it to be in 2016, 2021, and beyond. What does it look like? What does it offer? Here's what I envision. A community with enough scholarships so all students who want to continue their education past high school have the funds to do it. A community whose social service organizations no longer have to scramble for cash to meet the needs of their clients. A community where the government, education, business, and social service sectors work together to solve their most pressing issues. A community that supports its emerging musicians and artists and then enjoys the wonderful culture that these talents provide. A community that is known across the state and across the nation as a place that invests in its youth. A community where economic development is at the forefront of everyone's mission, and a place where new jobs are created at such a pace that people want to put down roots and stay here. I believe if we can imagine it, we can make it happen. A key component of such a community is an organization with the capacity to forge partnerships, convene parties around a table, lead by example, leverage funds, and enable philanthropy. An organization that looks a lot like the Wabash Valley Community Foundation. Remember, 20 years ago, the idea of having such an organization here probably sounded rather unattainable, but here we are. But it became a reality because people were bold enough to dream. Now it's our turn. It's our responsibility to grow the dream and pass it on to those who will follow us. It's going to require the same kind of vision, wisdom, and grit that our founders had. Some things never change. What got us here will get us there. Nobody in Washington, D.C. or Indianapolis, Indiana is going to do it for us. Today marks a milestone. It's a good time to pause and thank all of you for your past support, your investment, and your assistance. The Community Foundation has been a growing presence in the Wabash Valley, in Vigo County, in Sullivan County, and in Clay County for a fifth of a century. But we're still in our youth, and we still have much to do. With all of us working together, our collective vision of the future can indeed happen. Let's make sure it does.